Oh God, it's thundering and lightning outside.
It adds to the effect.
I hate it. We're here again at night. At night. Welcome back to the AC Unit podcast. I'm Claudia.
I'm Alyssa.
And today we're talking about creepypasta.
Yay!
Fettuccine.
Claudia had to explain to me what creepypasta actually is.
I also just want to give a warning, discretion to our viewers.
Warning!
We are going to be talking about really gruesome things like murder. And I mean,
oh no!
Unaliving. You gotta like
Unaliving.
You have to take out that S word. It's unaliving.
Right.
Because guidelines and stuff, we can't say certain words. Yeah.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The more you know.
So yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, I guess you could say.
No.
And
I might not even be able to get through this. To block my ears.
Be like, la 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 la.
Kitty, you can't listen yet. Maybe when you're older.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, before we begin, I want to tell you something cool that you'll appreciate.
Cool.
Are you familiar with The Conjuring?
Yes.
In that house?
Yes. Did you go there?
I went.
No, you didn't.
I went to the house about 2 weeks ago.
Did you bathe in holy water after you went?
Nope.
What the freak is wrong with you? Whatever is with her, stay with her. Do not follow me
There is nothing
home.
with me, okay?
Be gone.
See, this is why I need to be with you once a week, because you just like banish the spirits from me.
I'm they like, follow me.
Come hang out. I'm interested in you. And Claudia's like, no.
If you're more extroverted, that's what happens. They attach to you.
That's
fun fact.
Disgusting. Get off.
Disgusting.
Get off.
You're not welcomed.
I didn't go inside of the house, which I think would be super cool. Yes, because it's actually like a very short drive to Sean's house.
Oh.
So it's very close by. And I've been wanting to do this for like a year or two, and we just finally got the chance to do it. And we just drove by, and it was honestly not really, it was anticlimactic a little bit, because they've built this big barn that blocks your view of the house, because I imagine everybody and their mother wants to go see this house. But it's on this like long windy road, not a whole lot of other, traffic. It's dark. We drove by, we slowed down. We actually came to a stop, I think. And it just looks, I got a couple pictures. I'll show you, actually.
I don't know if I want to see them.
Oh, you will.
Watch me like spot something. I'd be like, Alyssa.
Oh, what's that? Should that be there? So they look much creepier than they really are, because his brake lights lit the barn up red.
Wait, you were at night?
Yeah, we went at night.
Why?
At night.
Why'd you do that?
Look it. Isn't that creepy? And it wouldn't focus properly.
I don't like that. I'm getting really bad vibes.
Look at the first picture.
I'm getting really bad vibes.
It's all blurry.
I don't like it.
Ah.
My heart started palpitating.
Palpitating?
Wait, what does that mean? Palpitating. Wait, palpitations.
I don't know. I think you're right. That's a right word to use there.
I just say things.
And just hope they come out right, like Michael Scott.
Yet again.
Anyway, yeah. So that's what we did. They have, this is not a sponsor for the farm on Round Hill Road, which is what they call it. But they have, you can take tours through there and do investigations. You can stay overnight with a group of people. It's pretty cool stuff. Oh, and there's thunder happening. Again, our second spooky podcast, and there's real life spooky things happening. There's actual thunder and lightning happening right now.
Marty, I'm scared.
She texted me before we got here. She goes, I'm pumping gas at a gas station outside, and there's lightning and thunder. Marty, I'm scared.
And I was like, these doors better be unlocked. I'm a literal conductor for lightning.
Why do you? Sometimes you have Carl Weezer energy. I
It reminds
You're
me
a
of
hot
this
Carl
video
Weezer.
where he's like in the like he ate a lot and he's like and he grabs nothing because there's nothing left in the bag. He ate it all, but he's like eating the air. That's literally me.
I love Carl Weezer. Jimmy's mom. Jimmy's mom.
Quack 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 croissant. Quack 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 croissant.
Wait,
Quack
remember?
quack croissant.
Slap, slap, slap. Clap, clap,
Oh,
clap.
slap, slap, slap. Clap, clap, clap. Slap, slap.
Booby. Okay.
Bulby stroganoff. I want stroganoff.
It's raining really hard.
I'm hungry.
Focus, Claudia.
Okay.
We cannot eat until we're done. Tell us.
Creepypasta.
These are horror-related legends that are shared. I'm sorry, I'm stealing her thunder from her outline. She spends a lot of time on these outlines. Pinky up. What's wrong with? What just happened? She choked underwater. Oh no! Hold on, we're gonna take a brief hold.
Slap, 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 clap, 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 slap, slap, slap.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen.
Creepypasta. These
Tell
are
us.
horror-related legends.
Oh no, I'm turning
That
into
are-
Princess Bride. Knowledge! Oh gosh.
Okay. These are horror-related legends that are shared around the internet. Creepypastas are often user-generated, short paranormal stories to scare readers.
Woo!
From topics of murder, unaliving, to experiences out of this world. Some famous stories that came out of Creepypasta were Jeff the Killer, Slenderman, and the Russian sleep experiment.
Oh.
Now, Alyssa,
Yeah.
have
That's
you
my
ever
name.
heard of a creepypasta? Or have seen anything about it on the internet growing up?
The only thing that comes to mind is Slenderman. Yep. Slenderman, and I was like a Tumblr kid.
Tumblr girl.
So
Me too.
I feel like that's where I learned of this stuff. Does that sound right? Was that stuff passed around on Tumblr?
It was passed around like everyone on the internet, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like that's where I learned about a lot of the fun, cool, unique stuff, including this stuff was on Tumblr.
I don't remember where I found it. I probably found some of it on YouTube because they had like videos of it on YouTube
Oh.
from like certain creepypastas.
Oh.
Yeah. And they terrified me.
That's classic YouTube for you.
Yeah. Yeah. There's actually a YouTube video that scarred me for like years.
Oh, really?
I don't know how my cousins and I found this video, but do you remember the scary maze?
Yeah. Is that the one? There's
you get
like
to the
two.
end of the maze and there's a jump scare.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so
yes.
that was around when the scary maze game was popular.
Oh, my
So we found this video from like Portugal, and it's about like this ghost like hitchhiking into someone's car with like a group of people, and then she was telling her story, and then she's like, and then I died in like Portuguese, and then suddenly it goes black, like they crashed, and then they said everyone died except for one person. And this is how the video was posted. Okay, I don't know why I'm talking about that, but it just reminded me of that because I remember seeing Jeff the Killer around this time.
What's Jeff the Killer?
So, Jeff the
Perfect
Killer.
segue.
Jeff the Killer is a creepypasta.
Okay.
And I don't know if you ever seen the photo of Jeff the Killer, but he's usually very pale, has like black hair, and has like a really big red wide smile.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like Joker-esque.
Okay.
I sent
Okay.
you a snap yesterday.
Oh, he looks like a potato fry smiley.
I wish I saw it like that because that thing used to
Except
terrify
with
me as
pale
a child.
skin. He just looks like a really pale potato fry smiley. Smiley potato fry.
It literally scared the living bejesus out of me.
Oh, really?
When I was younger
Oh.
in middle school. I'd be like, oh, I'm cursed.
So where would you see this thing?
Online. I would surf the internet. I shouldn't have.
Shouldn't have been given access to the internet.
No, I had too much power in my hands. Chronically on the internet.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was like obsessed with, I just wanted a laptop so bad. I can relate to that.
Okay, so Jeff the Killer is seen as a pale and noseless human.
Okay.
Like Voldemort, in a way.
He who shall not be named.
Voldemort. He has long black hair and a Joker-esque grin, as I said before, and it's carved into his face. This
How is
smile.
it carved? By a knife?
Yes.
Or an axe?
An axe.
Or a nail file? Or... Keep going.
Anyways, he is also known for his pre-murder catchphrase, "Go to sleep."
Oh.
Go to sleep, Alyssa.
Like a
Okay.
hypnotist and
Go to
sleep.
According to
I want to be a
Creepypasta,
hypnotist. Yeah.
you want to be a hypnotist?
That would be so dope. Right?
Moving on.
Okay. That's a whole thing that we get into a tangent.
According to Creepypasta's explanations, Jeff's fixed grin is due to scarring he inflicted upon himself. His eyes stare widely because he burnt off his own eyelids, and his skin is lily white as a result of having been horribly burnt by bullies with a combination of alcohol and bleach.
Oh. Yeah. So wait, so he's burnt, but he's white?
Because of bleach.
Oh. That's rough, buddy.
Okay, Zuko. The photograph that accompanies many Jeff the Killer stories, in which looks like a cross between Michael Jackson and a demented dolphin.
Did you come up with that?
No, it was Creepypasta.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Is widely known not to only I don't know what they're trying to say here, but let's.
Okay. As we get some thunder, I hope the mics pick up the thunder. It's pretty cool. What is it? What's the rest of it?
Oh yeah, so his photo is literally used as like a jump scare for like a lot of videos.
Okay.
And obviously, along with his catchphrase.
Go to sleep.
However, it seems the details of how Jeff the Killer ended up with this hideous appearance corresponding as they do to this image was retrofitted. The rationales being written to match the image rather than the other way around.
Oh, okay. So someone made the image
Photo.
of him.
Yeah.
And then people came up with a story
Exactly.
based on the image.
And you'll notice there's a lot of creepypastas that are based off of images and people writing stuff about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is how like a lot of them get their origin stories, I guess you could say.
So it's a bunch of people all contributing kind of
Yes.
to an idea?
Yeah. So all of that was from the website Creepypasta. I'm going to be reading off a lot of things from the website because I'm just too lazy to reiterate anything.
Well, I was going to ask you, is it a website in itself?
Yes,
so it is a
Creepypasta
website.
is a website.
I've never gone.
And then you would call it a Creepypasta story.
Oh.
I was like, I went on it and I was like, wow, it's bringing me back to childhood. I haven't seen this website in ages. I'd rarely go on it though. It'd be by accident.
Were you too scared?
I didn't even know what it was. And then I clicked on it and it was like scary stuff. And I'm like, oh, I have nightmares.
Oh my gosh. How old were you when you went on this like
I'd say
website stuff?
10.
You know what's so funny? I'm teaching a creative writing program for the elementary schools and middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the elementary school, one of them, they are so, like, we're having them write stories. They are so obsessed with horror. It's insane. Like, so obsessed. Like, even an innocent picture we put up, it's a fantasy picture with, like, a bunch of little frogs dancing around a fire, and there's a big moon looking down. They come up with this horrible, horrifying story to go. They're like, oh, they're doing a human sacrifice. Like, you are 9 and 10.
Frogs making human sacrifices. That's so funny. You're
And I'm like, was I really like this? Sorry.
it's okay. It's my mouth.
I was like, was I like that? But I was like that
We're
around the
all
time.
weird as children. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
like obsessed with
Like
the dark and
preteens.
the evil and the scary.
Yeah.
So
So something I've noticed in real life, in the
Yeah.
real world, on how Jeff the Killer affects people, is how people romanticize him.
what?
And you would notice this about like a lot of different famous characters
Yeah.
and real life people, such as like murderers and
Yeah, it's like
serial
Ted
killers.
Bundy and
Why are people romanticizing this?
I don't.
I think it's so unhealthy, and I'm like, bestie, you're not going to be the one person who gets away because you fall in love with them. They
Yeah.
are going to kill you.
I feel like that's what a lot of people probably think. It's like, oh, I'll
And
be
I'm
the
like,
one that
"Ted
changes
Bundy
them.
would
I don't
give
know.
me a chance." And I'm like, no, you're literally the type where he goes, and I'm like, goodbye.
You're one of his customers.
Bon voyage.
Bon voyage.
See you in the other life.
So interesting.
Yeah. And I remember like being on the internet around that time. A lot of people would be writing fan fiction about Jeff the Killer.
What? Why?
And I see a lot of fan art too, and they try to like make him look hot. And he's
You know
not
what that
hot.
is?
He's not hot.
It's like in your brain, the way we're designed, the fear and like, tickly aroused. Like, I'm trying to find a funnier word.
It's
Like,
because that person's like dangerous, and like people kind of like look for things like that.
yeah, like fear and arousal are very closely in your brain. They're like almost the same pathway. So that's where it can get like people associate it with each other. I don't know. It's weird. It's why in a lot of horror movies they'll have like sexy stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Because it goes like that kind of.
I know. I didn't.
I'm doing a funny thing with my fingers for people listening. Not a different thing with my finger. Anyway.
Oh my brain was not going there.
Just imagining what like listener, not watchers. Okay.
Listeners. That's really like the farthest thing I really saw with Jeff the Killer and the real world and how people have reacted towards him. I haven't really seen anything like too messed up other than people romanticizing him.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Well, I guess that's not too harmful then.
It can be harmful in a way if it gets too toxic, and we'll talk about
Yeah.
that further with a different character.
Yeah.
The next topic is the Russian experiment.
Okay.
I used to think this was real.
Okay.
Only because, first of all, it's called the Russian sleep experiment. I forgot to say sleep. It's the Russian sleep experiment. And it's the most realist feeling one
Okay.
that could be close to being true, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's dealing with real people and like real life things.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with like World War II, but they did do like a lot of experiments on people, unfortunately.
Yeah. Like the twin experiment and stuff like that.
So this is like it feels real, so like a lot of people would believe that it's real.
Right.
So
it took advantage of like the realistic elements to Okay. I'm excited. I don't think I've heard this one.
It's kind of weird. Yeah. So basically, according to Creepypasta's website, they wrote, widely regarded as one of the most popular and widest spread creepypastas ever written, the Russian sleep experiment is notorious as much for the gruesome nature of its content as for its plausibility. To this day, a large portion of the articles written about the story are attempts to investigate the validity or to debunk it as a hoax, something that speaks not only to the story's effectiveness, but also to deeper societal anxieties to which the story appeals to.
Okay.
Yeah, so like what I said earlier, like that's why I thought it was real, and it would make sense because humans can be so messed up to do things like this.
Yeah. Yep.
So so you don't know what the Russian sleep experiment is. So it's supposedly a factual account, quote unquote, of experimentation acted out on subjects by the Soviet government military in the wake of World War II.
Okay, so after World War II.
Yeah.
Okay.
The experiment was meant to explore the effects of sleep deprivation on the human body and was also used to test a new gas that could keep people awake for days at a time.
Oh, wow.
So the report documents degeneration of those experimented on, individuals commonly referred within the Creepypasta community as the quote-unquote test subjects. The horrifying results of these experiments, the crazed, almost subhuman or demonic creatures it produced, are often illustrated alongside the story, with one image in particular being representative of the entire myth. I don't have the photo here, but you could look it up.
Insert photo.
If I can find it. I need to drink some water.
Okay, so it's like it's saying that the Soviet government tested on people and with different gases to make them stay awake for super long periods of time, and then okay,
which could be plausible if they're trying to like do something where if they were to go into war, if this was real, they would spray this gas to their soldiers and these soldiers would be forced to stay awake so they could fight. But that also longer. Like wouldn't help them in any way because sleep deprivation literally messes up your body.
I know. Well, yeah, I guess it's like short-term versus long-term gain. Like, oh, yeah, they're going to be useless.
Yeah.
But whatever. We'll
they're
get
like,
some
their bodies, whatever.
Good war out of them. Good war.
So the subjects were prisoners and they were promised to be free after participating. So they were told that the experiment would last 30 days.
Okay.
30 days. A whole month.
That's a lot of days.
So... unfortunately, they didn't get to 30-day mark. They stopped at 15.
And why?
So they turned off the stimulant and they opened the locked chamber only to find a scene of carnage.
Ooh.
One prisoner is dead and the others have suffered various forms of extreme mutilation, including disembowelment.
Oh, well, that's not because they missed nap time.
Goes crazy. I need to get nap time.
I need my nap. I'm going to pull my bowels out.
Sounds like a toddler.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The survivors have also developed an inhuman strength and a resistance to drugs and sedatives, which causes them to murder one of the soldiers who attempts to remove them from the room. So.
Oh.
Yeah. And there's like a lot of other people who've gotten killed by these prisoners. And by the end of it, all of the prisoners end up dying because they like locked them away. And they just died within the chamber, I guess you could say.
So is it that this gas was giving them like a superhuman strength?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's the
There's probably something else in it that only didn't just yeah.
Right. Because like going with the thinking that they're giving it to their soldiers.
Yeah, and I also like read somewhere that like apparently one fell asleep and that's how they died because they were awake for so long.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So like
oh, I need to take that gas because it's been some marathon weeks around here and I need to get things done.
Halloween.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's literally crazy town in my world and I need that gas. Give me the gas.
I'll pass on that.
Give it to me now. Just a little bit. Just like a little.
No.
Little bit.
Just no.
Imagine if we only had to sleep like 1 hour. That'd be sick.
And like feel like healthy?
Yeah, and feel healthy and be healthy. And
okay, I'd be down with that.
Oh,
but I love
so
sleep.
much stuff done.
I love sleep.
Yeah, it is nice. but like just 1 hour.
I never want to wake up whenever I have to wake up for work. I'm still in bed and I'm like, I'm sorry I'm late.
I feel that. I hate getting
So as we go back into like the real life stuff about this certain creepypasta story,
Yeah.
what I wrote down is a scary thing about this is how attainable the situation could be.
Yeah, that's true.
And how far people have gone in experiments, like I said earlier, during war.
Yeah.
So it's not really a surprising subject matter, if that makes sense.
Isn't there one from the US, not the twin thing? There's a different one. MK Ultra or something.
I've heard of that, but I forgot what it was about.
I forgot what it's about too. But I know that's a huge thing, and it's real. I think
nothing surprises me. Like
I know.
every government does something with people, experiment wise.
Anarchy.
Oh.
Just kidding.
No opinion.
No comment.
I want to stay safe.
We're lip biting over here for our listeners.
And another thing that I also wrote, it's also like the spread of misinformation when it comes to things that are medical.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot, especially here in America.
Yeah. What do you mean?
It's just like people like are trying to decide if whether or not this story was actually like real and like within like the experiments, and like because these experiments are medical experiments, not experiences, but it's also experience, I guess. But yeah, that's what I mean by like misinformation about medical things, like with like sleep deprivation and stuff.
Do you think any Russian people believe in this?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I think everyone else in the world, probably some people, but it's like everyone knows it as a creepypasta now. Like, but when it first came out, I could assume a lot of people believed.
Yeah.
Do you believe in love after love?
Yeah.
Yeah. Our next and last creepypasta is Slenderman.
Yay! Slenderman!
Everyone knows about Slenderman.
Everyone does.
Slenderman.
It's like a
Out
German
in forest. Slenderman.
Yeah.
Da.
Da. There's gonna be one for every culture. I
It's
wanted
actually
America
kinda weird
like into
because
fast food and
Speaking
stuff.
of Slenderman, there's a lot of interesting characters that come from different cultures that look like Slenderman.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
that's
was
cool.
something I saw. I didn't write it in though, but I just want to mention it because we mentioned culture.
Yeah, around Slenderman around the world.
So, I'd like to say Slenderman is probably one of the most popular out of everyone
Yeah, definitely.
because it's literally gone into like mainstream media.
Yeah, I feel like most people know the story, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Tell us about
Well,
Slenderman.
I have a question for you,
Okay.
Alyssa. When and where did you hear about Slenderman, or do you not remember?
Probably middle school. Probably middle school. I think. I don't know. Yeah, probably just like from being online, and then the news story about it.
We'll talk about that later.
That was high school, I think.
We were in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I heard about Slenderman through watching YouTubers playing Slenderman, the video game.
There's a video game.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's interesting, and I remember watching PewDiePie play it.
Oh my
That's how I found out about Slenderman.
Is it a computer game or
I think you can get it on a computer.
is it more PS4 or something?
I have no clue. I think it's a computer game, honestly. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
Because I did not play.
Did that come first before the
No,
lore?
The lore was before the
Okay.
game, but the game did make it popular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It came out like a while back.
So tell the people what Slenderman even is.
So, Slenderman. Well, he is a tall, white, lanky dude.
A lot of dudes. Just
Lot
go
of
to Last Round in New Bedford and you'll find that.
Everyone's Slenderman. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Just kidding.
Ooh. So
Spit it out! Tell us what Slenderman is! My God!
Slenderman is a thin, unnatural, tall humanoid with features, with a featureless head and face. He's bald. He's like Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide.
Dolly. And he's wearing a black suit.
Okay.
Very, very lanky.
Oh. Nothing. I might save this story for paranormal, but I had an encounter with something that sounds very similar to
An
Slenderman.
encounter with Slenderman.
But he wasn't skinny.
Okay, he's fat.
Kinda.
Slenderman, let go.
No, it's the
actually
American
Santa Claus.
version of Slenderman. It's okay.
He had too much McDonald's.
Yeah.
Okay, so the stories that revolve around Slenderman involve him stalking, abducting, and traumatizing children. Sounds like a normal dude, am I right?
Oh. You can always count on the AC podcast for taking digs at men.
Take it from moi. So he's usually found chilling in the forest, outskirts of populated areas, and abandoned areas. Like, if you played the video
just silly
game,
quirky.
if you played the video game, he's usually in a forest in an abandoned area.
Ah.
Yeah, and then you have to like run away from him because all of a sudden,
Is he fast?
He can get fast, I guess.
Okay.
I never played the game though. I just watched.
Okay.
Much like his appearance, however, through the details, alters some elements. Seem to remain as constant, such as the character appearing in woods or forests, like I said, enticing children away from their parents and friends, never to be seen again. He abducts children. Child abductor. Is he an alien?
I don't know.
He doesn't have a face. He's bald.
Perhaps he's an alien.
All bald people are suddenly aliens.
Sorry, Dad.
I'm always taking digs at your father without realizing it. Like that one time I made a bald joke when we were watching the football game at your house.
I don't remember
And your
this.
dad is sitting next to me and he just looks at me and he's I'm like, oh.
Oh, I remember this. He's like,
Super
it's
Bowl.
fine. I'm used to it.
I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't plan that. I always forget your dad's bald.
Can you imagine him with hair? That'd be creepy. A mullet.
I always try to picture bald people with hair.
You always do that?
Yeah.
You're like, hi,
And I'm
nice to
like,
meet you,
I
Mr.
can't
Bald.
picture
I'm
them.
picturing you with your
I
hair.
can't picture them with hair.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's hard to picture them with hair. Another common trope that Slenderman exerts an influence upon the victims, making their perpetrators of crimes and violent actions.
Mm-hmm.
And this can tie into something we're going to talk about later about Slenderman
Yeah.
in the real world.
Yeah.
The character has also been said to cause illness, particularly a cough known as slender sickness. That's sad. And to induce those who encounter him to unaliving.
Unaliving. Oh.
Yes. So yeah, he's just not a good role model.
Well, that's not good.
Because he's either going to make you violent or make you unalive yourself, or he abducts you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Slenderman.
So how has Slenderman affected those in the real world? As we all know,
These are the real questions.
is a case that
Yes.
happened, unfortunately, between three girls.
Do you know what year this happened?
It was
Full
2014.
2014?
2014.
Okay. I was 15 when this happened.
I was 16.
And what happened?
So this happened in Wisconsin. It was a stabbing that occurred in a wooded area. And there was these 3 girls who were playing hide and seek, but there was it was a spicy hide and seek.
There was a
apparently.
twist. Spicy.
So between the 3 girls, 2 were responsible for stabbing Peyton. This girl named Peyton. And they were all around the age of 12 to 15, I think.
Okay.
And 2 girls pinned her down and stabbed her 19 times in the arms, legs, and torso.
It's nuts.
Yeah. And the girl luckily survived.
Oh, she did.
Yes. Which makes me happy.
Good.
Because she can live her life, even though that's a lot of trauma. But
I wonder what she's doing now.
it's really messed up.
So she's probably like our age-ish.
They were born in like 2001, 2002.
See, all the babies born after 2000 are just messed up. I'm sorry. It's only 90s babies here.
God.
90s.
We're like late 90s. We're so close to 2000.
1999. 1997. That's you because you're old.
You literally graduated a year after me. Hop on this old train.
Full year behind you.
Yeah, so far. Anyway, the attackers said that they would...
Did you say attacher again?
Attackers! The attackers said, may I take your hat, sir?
May I take your answer?
No, so the attackers said that they would go find help. What kind of attacker says that?
What?
We're gonna find help. Bye. Leave you in the middle of the forest.
What the heck?
These were like 12-year-olds, so I'm like, I don't really.
12-year-olds are stupid.
Yeah.
Don't ever be a 12-year-old.
So they never came back, obviously. Why would you come back to someone that you stabbed? That's you like calling yourself out in a way.
Yeah, that's...
Hi, I was the person.
Yeah.
So Peyton dragged herself to a nearby road until someone found her. Luckily, she didn't die. Obviously, she was brought to the hospital. The other 2 were found with a knife in their bag. You'd think they like throw it away or something. It's like evidence.
I wish every criminal was as dumb as a 12-year-old.
There's a lot of criminals who are dumb, and there's a reason why they got caught.
That's true. That's very true.
So one of the attackers said that they felt no empathy.
That's a good sign.
Empathy for what they have done.
Oh, good.
And the other one did feel empathy.
But sucker.
They also said that they had to do what they did to appease Slenderman. Both have been tried as adults. Remember, they are children.
Wow,
So,
they were tried as adults?
yeah, they skipped like everything. They went straight to like adult stuff. So that's how you know it's real.
Yeah.
And obviously due to the actions they have done, they have their own criminal penalties.
Did they go to jail?
So they were deemed as mentally ill.
Okay.
So obviously that kind of like splits it in a way. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you
do they have
just
to go to
a mental institute?
Yeah,
I think.
an institution. I mean, I feel like that's the best answer.
Yeah.
You know? Because
So
obviously there's something wrong there.
one of them is institutionalized in a mental health institute, obviously, and they'll be released under supervision until 37 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then the other one is also in a mental health institution. They have 25 years to life in a mental health institution, released after 7 years. Maybe.
Wow. So released after 7 years?
So if 7 years passes, I don't know if they'll like do tests or something, but like if they find her unfit.
So when is 2014 plus 7?
Something might have come out already.
Might
I just
have?
didn't see it.
Yeah, might possibly.
It's been a while.
Wow. Was that the one who had empathy? The one who was
the
regretting?
one with the longer one, I'm gonna say the 40 years to life is the one who didn't feel empathy.
Yeah, I would assume. Yeah.
And I can also assume that they were the one who decided to do this.
Yeah, leading the charge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's terrifying. Like, you're with your friends, with people that you trust, and then like suddenly something like that happens is like terrifying to me.
And like, I imagine if
Like,
the
I can't
three of them
trust
are
anyone.
friends, maybe two of them, because in a pair of three, there's always two that are closer.
Yeah.
So it's the two that did the thing. And like, just imagine the three of them were probably all going on the internet together, you know, sleepovers, stuff like that.
Reading
And,
all these Slenderman
wow,
things.
Slenderman, oh, like so crazy, so wow. Ugh. And then the two that are closer probably go off and talk, and then like, oh, we should, you know, try this.
Crazy.
And then use the third one, and she doesn't even know, and then you're in the woods, and then
So, as we're closing up these 3 separate creepypasta stories, I written down opinions on everything. And what's it called? I was gonna say something and I forgot it. What the freak? Super freak. She's super freaky. Oh yeah. What I was gonna say is like your opinions on everything, and do you think we should stop posting things like creepypastas that will, you know, intrigue readers to do criminal acts like this? Kind of like they're kind of like inspiring in a way.
what was the part that the girls latched on to? Like, oh, if you kill your friend, you're gonna get Slenderman.
I think it was just like a sacrifice,
Sign
like
of
a human
approval.
sacrifice for Slenderman. That's what it sounded like to me.
So they just like came up with it.
Maybe they saw like a forum and they're like, you know, young. Like when
I
you're young,
know.
you don't really have like a proper conscience. I mean,
don't know what's
granted,
real
there's
and
like a
what's
lot of
not.
adults that don't have a proper conscience, but
Yeah.
like children are children, you know? And so it's like, what comes to the point where like these stories are toxic to the mind, and
oh yeah.
how do you even hide your children from the internet like that?
I don't know. I feel like that's where like good strategic parenting comes in, because you want to give your kids access to the internet. Of course, you can't just shelter them from reality
Yeah.
and the world, but I think you have to be smart about how they're using the computer. Like, I don't know, growing up, we had a family computer and it was in our library. And so my parents could like kind of check in on me every once in a while and see what I was up to.
Yeah, my family wasn't smart. They gave me a laptop. I was in my room with the laptop.
Oh no!
So I found a lot of things I wasn't supposed to see.
Oh my gosh.
Someone's blowing up my phone. Okay. But yeah, I saw a lot of traumatizing things. I wasn't meant to say, like people doing things to other people. Like unaliving people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was like, what is this?
So that's why you are the way that you are.
I'm traumatized. And that's not trauma.
Trauma.
So,
like the nails.
closing up this episode, I'm going to read 2 stories.
Yay,
from
viewers.
our viewers.
Nice. Woo.
Okay, so our first story, I got this one on our Instagram DMs.
Okay.
No one really mentioned to me if they wanted me to say their name or not, so I'm just not going to say it.
Okay.
So it goes like this.
Okay.
One day I got to my grandmother's house after school, and since she lived close, I was there. I walked out and saw in the mirror this lady standing in the corner of the dining room. Yikes.
Okay.
Obviously, I quickly looked to see who she was, but she wasn't there anymore. Of course. That's always how it happens. So I shook it off and thought it was just lighting or something, which is, you know, like,
That's
maybe
fair.
it was like a thing, like a weird, just
Yeah.
try to like make up excuses for things that you've seen.
Right.
Months later, we got an envelope of photos of my grandmother's house from around 1918. In the photos, it showed the original family who lived there. The woman in the photos is the woman I saw in the mirror.
No way, dude. What?
I would simply poop my pants if that happens.
I would simply need therapy.
I'd be like, excuse me?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's freaky.
Yeah.
That's wicked freaky.
I'd be like, I'm moving out. Even though it's my grandma's house, I'm moving out.
I'm not going to the dining room anymore.
Yeah. So that's the first story.
Okay.
The
Very
second
good.
Story
I
is
like that
a
one.
little bit longer. So
Okay.
Whee!
You got a meaty one.
This is I think my friend told me this is his mom's encounter with
Okay.
something paranormal.
Can you name the friend or no?
I'm not going to.
Okay.
So
If you need a break, just let me know and I'll do a chunk.
Yeah, sure. So this is called 7 Steps.
Oh, there's a name?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
The sound of heavy footsteps echoed the old servant's stairs.
Oh, it's like written in prose.
Tanya barked, wagging her tail and rushing to the door. In her haste, she pushed Rufin, my yellow cat, out of the way, who was rubbing back and forth on the doorway. I wasn't expecting anyone, but the neighborhood children were known to come by to visit. I got up from the couch and made my way to open the door, preparing to greet whoever that may have arrived. I hesitated, waiting for a knock, but no one came. Shrugging slightly, I opened the old creaky door to only discover I had no visitors. Confused and slightly unnerved, I walked out into the small landing that leads to the stairwell. The stairs were old and incredibly narrow and dangerously steep. Living on the 3rd floor of a 200-year-old house has its pitfalls.
Okay.
If you want to read this part.
Okay.
That, if you want.
I gotta burp first. Okay, thank you.
Burp.
As I turned the corner, I felt a strange feeling of unease. Not fear, but that feeling when something is slightly off. Not only had no one come calling, but the massive metal door at the end of the stairs remained closed. I made my way cautiously down the stairs, opened the massive heavy door, and walked into the 2nd floor living area. I called out to see if anyone was present, but also to break up the silence. No one replied. After checking the 2 other doors and finding everything as it should be, I returned to my 3rd floor apartment.
A few weeks later, now in the middle of the summer, I was just chilling. I'm going to say that because I don't know. Languidly in the front of the loud box fan. A loud noise broke me out of my daydreams. Love that. That always happens to me. The sound of the heavy door below slamming open.
Ooh.
I was expecting a visit from my little brother, but then I didn't think he would be able to slam the door on his own. Curious, I made my way to the door. Heavy, slow footsteps stopped me before I reached my destination.
What? Oh! Okay.
Raisin, my black and brown mutt of a dog, whined.
Oh, no, not the dog.
Not the animals. They always have like that.
Oh,
sense.
they have it.
My cat be like staring into space and like, you need to stop.
You need to stop, sir.
I'm like, come here. I'll give you little cuddles. Stop staring at the wall.
And then the hair goes up.
I'm like,
my mom had that happen.
No.
Her cats would stare at the stairs and their hair would go up. And
I hate that. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
It's weird.
Okay, keep going.
And stared into the direction of the footfalls. I listened intently by the door, counting each step. Whoever was there stopped at 7 steps. The staircase had 10 steps. So I figured they were going to turn around. This time, I was going to find out who it was.
I quickly whipped the 3rd floor door open and ran out to the landing, ready to catch whoever it was. My uneasy feeling returned as no one was there. The door that I had clearly heard slam wide open remained closed. I decided once again to search the house and once again found nothing. A couple days after the last incident, I laid in bed with my husband sleeping. I was awoken by both dogs and the cat leaping onto the bed.
Party!
After I collected myself, I noticed the animals were slowly moving their heads from one end of the room to the other.
Oh, hell no.
Hell no. Tails wagging, even the cats. As their collective stares reached the opposite end of the bedroom, they leapt down as if nothing had happened. I tried to return to sleep. It did not come that night.
Having lived in this old house for a couple of years now, both my husband and I had grown accustomed to hearing the slam and counting the 7 steps.
What?
We found no schedule or pattern to the occurrences. We tried using a long exposure camera. Long exposure camera, not character.
Character.
What is English? 'Cause I don't know what it is. Where am I?
Long exposure character.
Bolting the door shut from the inside and even sitting in there waiting. All to no effect. Often, I would feel a tingling sensation only to notice the animals reacting happily, watching whatever it was they could see that I could not. A few others experienced the 7 steps while we lived in the house. 2 of my brothers, a neighbor, and a cousin who often stayed with us. We moved away only a year later, as the old estate was being sold. And I wonder if whoever was there still takes their 7 steps.
Oh.
Probably.
I
would say
would.
so.
I would. Yeah.
That is creepy.
Oh my gosh, that's so creepy. What's this Oh,
That's just me going, bye.
she has all these bullets on her iPad, and the last one just says bye. Oh my gosh, that was so creepy. I love the way that was written.
I know.
Was that your friend or your friend's mom?
I think my friend wrote it.
Wow,
Or
very
maybe
good
my
writing.
friend's mom. I have no clue.
Very good writing.
Yeah, and they were like,
be a little
oh,
book.
this is like shitty writing. And I'm like, this is literally not shitty writing.
No, that's like the first time anyone's
really good.
attempted prose. I mean,
It's really good.
yeah. Ooh, that
I,
is
like,
terrifying.
What was in that house and how it got there and why.
Yeah. I wonder if you
Anyways.
could find the history of it or anything like that.
Maybe.
I'm glad nothing else happened.
Yeah, because there could be worse things that happen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, granted, like slamming doors and hearing footsteps is probably not my favorite.
No.
But at least you're not home alone. You had your animals.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Animals help a lot.
I feel
like, with
more comfortable whenever like I'm home alone and I'm like, oh yeah, my cat's home with me.
that. I feel like I need that.
Yes.
Because when my parents go away, I still live with my parents, and it's like I get so uncomfortable.
Even though
It's
you
an
have
old
birds.
house.
No,
Yeah.
it is an old house.
Yeah, the birds. I mean, the birds are good, but like my birds are jackasses, so they don't really hang
I love
out.
them so much.
They don't like chill. I mean,
can chill on
sometimes
your
they
head.
chill, but they are so bratty and mean a lot of the time. So I want a cat.
Meow.
Meow.
I love cats. But that was our episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe, listen on Spotify, watch on YouTube, listen on Apple Podcasts.
Rate us, give us 5 stars, share with your friends.
Yes. Comment.
And next week
Anything.
we'll have even more spooky stories. And
Spoopy.
what are we going to be focusing on, Claudia?
The paranormal.
My favorite.
Ah!
Yay! Well, I'm excited.
Okay, well, this is us peacing out.
Bye.
See you next week with a new episode. Allergy season. It's falling down my face, darling.
I got it for you.